hope your day is full of onion rings and sweet potato fries and curly fries and waffle fries and regular fries and steak fries and truffle fries and thinly sliced fries and whoa, my camera almost fell over. Guys, this episode's wild. I started off by talking about sides. Do you know what side I didn't mention? I didn't mention a few. I didn't mention coleslaw. Want to know why? Because coleslaw should be banished from existing. Coleslaw is literally the most disgusting side I've ever tried. I don't understand what's going on with coleslaw. It's just mayo and cabbage. It's a Depression era snack. Anyone who regularly eats coleslaw hates themselves. They're suicidal because no one who is not suicidal would eat coleslaw by choice. Unless you're really high. The only time I could ever enjoy coleslaw is if I'm stoned off my ass. And I mean like edible high, like that good high. Yeah, we started off by talking about sides. I didn't mention beans because beans aren't for me. Just not really a fan of the bean in general. Which, is that controversial? Maybe. You know, people say, Sarah, what about the garbanzo bean? It's like, I've tried it. It doesn't speak to me in the same way as a side, like a french fry. Nothing better than getting french fries and then finding an onion ring in your french fries. That's what I call a poor man's surprise. I just made that up on the spot. Yes, I'm in my childhood bedroom because I had to evacuate due to a fire. I am in my childhood bedroom, podcasting from my childhood bed with a blue light shining on me for ambiance. If you're not watching this podcast on YouTube, you're definitely missing out on some aesthetic choices I've made. Head to Sara Weinshenk YouTube, subscribe to the video version of this podcast. Also, guys, look down at your feet right now. Are your toes exposed? Ew, why are they exposed? They shouldn't be. People should be paying you to see your feet. If you're just showing people your feet, you're a slut. And I'm not slut shaming. I'm slut empowering. I'm just saying it's time for some socks. Oh, yeah. Go to ohyeah.com. That's 3 O's HYEAH.com. Enter discount code SARA10, SARA 10 for 10% off. Really cool, unique sock designs. Oh, yeah. Socks collaborates with a bunch of different artists to bring really unique designs. Some of my personal favorites that they have are Free the Nipple. They got a Free the Nipple sock. They have a Brady Bunch sock. I just ordered the Marsha socks. There's a pair of Cheers socks, Bob Ross socks. I even have some other socks here to show you some designs. The Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. I mean, who doesn't want Bret Michaels socks? And then I Survived 2020 socks. These are cute gifts. They also have Norman Rockwell socks. There's a sock for every person in your life. It's a great way to support the show. Discount code SARA10. Link in the description of this episode. Tag Oh Yeah in the socks that you buy. And show the podcast some love. Show the podcast some support. Also, if you're someone who has been asking me about merch, good news, my merch store is now live. There's a link to it in the description of this week's episode. So go buy a Western shirt. It's a great way to support the show. There's fun unisex designs. There's ones that just say SHENK in an old school like Western rope design. And then there's cowboy looking t-shirts. I love them. I think they're all really fun and really cool and unique. Support the show. Head to my merch shop. Link in the description of this week's episode. The shop is now live for pre-sale. So yeah, you can pre-sell some shirts. Support the show. Guys, I got shows this week. That's right. I have 2 shows. This Saturday, May 22nd, I will be headlining at Wicked Warehouse in San Diego. More info about that on my Instagram and my Twitter. Rachel Wolfson is opening for me. It's going to be a great fun night. It's 420 friendly. Alcohol is going to be there. Alcohol, weed, Rachel Wolfson, me, in a really dope warehouse in San Diego. I think it's going to be super fun. Tickets are limited, so get on that now. Also on Sunday, LA friends, I will be performing at Jam in the Van. That's right, Jam in the Van. It's on the west side of Los Angeles. It's a really, really fun outdoor show with this is the first all women show, which I'm super excited to be a part of. All of the comics on the show are hilarious, really funny. Can't recommend that show enough. It's also 420 friendly and alcohol friendly. So if you're in LA on Sunday, the 23rd, come out to Jam in the Van. If you're in San Diego, the 22nd, come out to Wicked Warehouse to see me do about somewhere between 30 to 40 minutes of fresh stand-up material. Last week was wild. Why was last week wild? Well, because I roasted my ex-boyfriend. I roasted Adam Egget, my ex-boyfriend, the Comedy Store booker who's moving to Austin to help Joe Rogan set up his new comedy club. So, and anyone who knows me knows that I don't do roasts. So I would prepare for this for several weeks. And I had such bad anxiety. It was the worst anxiety I've ever had because I just don't like using my energy in that way. I feel like I would rather apply myself. It's easier for me to write jokes that I can use for a set. It's harder for me to write jokes that are mean about someone that I dated and then say them out loud in front of everybody. But I'm really glad that I did it. It was a really rewarding experience. Like the high from doing a roast is a lot higher than the high that you get from just doing a regular set, especially if it goes well. So I'm happy it's done. I'm happy it went well. I'm happy I got to do that. I don't think I'd like to do a roast unless I was getting paid a lot of money moving forward, because that shit's a lot of work and it's so stressful and you have to be prepared to hear really mean things about you. And there were mean things said about me, but I'm a strong cookie. I'm a tough cookie. Such a strong cookie. I think it's a tough cookie. One tough cookie. That's going to be the name of this episode. And then I winked. Guys, I'm at my parents' house because I had to evacuate over the weekend due to a fire. There was a large fire in the canyon where I live, and the smoke was billowing up in front of my house. So I had to evacuate with my dog and then 3 cats because my landlords were out of town. So I was running around crazy, getting the dog in the car and then trying to wrangle 3 cats to get in the car, which if you don't have much experience with cats, they're completely different than dogs. They're more particular with like their food and their litter boxes, and it's been a whole thing. So I came to my parents' house with 3 cats and a dog, and now you see me in my bed. I love doing this podcast so much that I went back to the canyon after I had evacuated to get my podcast equipment because I didn't want to not give you guys a fresh episode of SHENK because that's how much I care. I did have a guest scheduled for today, but that's not happening because I couldn't get a guest could not get into where I live and because I'm evacuated at my parents' house. So without further ado, let's get into some of these subjects that you guys asked me to talk about. I have a few questions and a few just random subjects. So someone wants to know, what do I miss most about the pandemic? Did anything positive come from it? Yes, I miss the peace and quiet. I miss not having to socialize. As much as I love socializing, it has actually been overwhelming to go back to life. I'm sure a lot of other people feel like this. I've talked to a lot of people who I know are feeling the same way. I'm someone who's pretty good with social situations, and I've just felt like completely overwhelmed. And most of my socializing happens around comedy. So I've found that when I'm not doing comedy, I'm just loving being at home in a different way. Like I have a new appreciation for doing nothing. I also miss being able to just like snack and get fat at home. No. I just missed having nothing to do and nowhere to be. And like the expectations of you are way lower when the pandemic is active, when there's a plague ravaging the land. It's a lot easier to be like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna sit at home and eat some churro chips. Because that's how I treat myself, with churro chips. Okay, so there's this brand called Siete. It's like this health food brand. They make these things called churro chips. And they're not sponsoring the show. This is just me telling you one of my favorite treats in the world. So anyways, churro chips by Siete. If you're in Whole Foods and you see them, those are a must. strongly recommend. Okay. So I was watching the news at my parents' house because they watch the news nonstop. It's like the 1990s. They're just watching the news. Dad's watching the weather. It's a whole different energy. But on the news, because I think they're out of things to talk about. They were talking about brainwave controlled animal tails that move with the person who's wearing the tail's emotion. So if you're sad, the tail would just like would reflect that. And I think it's weird. I think that humans with tails is not something I'm trying to be around. Humans with tails, it's like, what is wrong with you? And the reason why I decided to start with humans with tails is because someone asked what I think about furries. And to me, furries, I just don't get it. Like, I don't get it because it's weird. It's sick. It's like a cross between, it just feels like something, it feels wrong. It feels wrong to, I mean, I'm not trying to kink shame anyone. I know everyone's very sex positive in 2021. Like, if you're a furry and you're out there and you listen to this podcast, thanks for listening to the podcast. However, keep your panda head out of my way. You know what I mean? I'm not into it. I don't want to mix cartoony things with fucking. I think those are two different things. I think sex is one thing, and then characters that are furry are another thing. Like, those belong in an amusement park, and it's not a kink I'm into. If I was with someone who was like, hey, I want you to wear a tail in the bedroom, I'd be like, is it a butt plug? First of all, butt plug tails freak me out. Because it's like, wait, what's happening? Are we trying to widen my butthole, or are we trying to make me an animal? Have you seen those butt plugs with animal tails? Wow, butt plugs with animal tails. Wasn't planning on talking about that. Where have I traveled to, and what are my thoughts on some places that I've traveled to? Okay, so let's start with Reno, the armpit of the world. Reno is literally the scariest place I've ever been. There's just people who have lost everything walking through the streets. I remember like the West Elm in Reno when I went. This was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. The West Elm was missing the S, so it just said Wet Elm, and I just felt like that was representative of everything that had happened in Reno. It was like Vegas on meth. If you haven't been to Reno, you're not missing out. However, I will say this: Reno is about an hour and a half drive to Tahoe, and Tahoe's beautiful Mecca. Tahoe, when I went to Reno to perform stand-up with my friend Abby, we ended up in Tahoe every day just having the time of our lives because Reno was that bad. Every day we're like, let's just drive out of Reno. Yeah, so Reno, can't stand it. I feel like I just need to let people know, if you haven't been to Reno, don't go. It's Las Vegas on meth. New York, which is one of my favorite cities in the world. I love New York so much. I can't wait to be back. Especially now that the pandemic's done. I feel like that's going to be so much fun to just be in that scene. Comedy in New York is incredible. Food in New York is incredible. I have been to Indiana, which was racist as fuck, and everyone moved incredibly slow in Indiana. I remember going to the Walmart and asking someone where candles were, and she's like, let's walk down the aisles together. And I was like, oh no, I can probably find the candles without you faster, because no one in Indiana is in a rush. And there was Confederate flags in the parking lot, which is not something that you see in Los Angeles. So that was unnerving as well. I was like, do people in Indiana even accept Jews? Probably not. France, I've been to France, which is beautiful. Unlike Reno, it is the exact opposite of Reno. I would say France, it's like France and Reno are polar opposites. In France, everything's polished. It smells good. It's rich. It's exquisite. It's detailed. It's beautiful. There's fresh foods. There's flowers. The streets are paved. In Reno, it's like The Walking Dead. There's people who have lost everything, walking around with guitar cases and $2 and a bucket of change and a pack of Marlboro Reds. It's a completely different energy than France. I've also been to Vegas. Not my favorite. What are you going to do in Vegas? Go see Celine Dion? Celine Dion's starting a residency in Vegas. And my question is why? Who's going to see Celine Dion? I don't understand. I feel like Ed Sheeran is the male version of Celine Dion. Is that wrong? I feel like they would get along. Maybe they should do a duet together. Can I orchestrate that? Ed Sheeran and Celine Dion. Make it happen. People who love Celine Dion love Celine Dion. But if you're not a Celine Dion person, then you're just not a Celine Dion person. And for me, I'm not a Celine Dion person. I feel like I can't just say Celine. I have to say Celine Dion every time I say her name. I don't know if that's something that's just like a tick that I have, or is it just something that's been programmed in me? I'm not sure. Celine Dion. Anyways, enough about Celine Dion. I saw today she'll be in Vegas having a residency. It's like, go to Vegas, go eat at buffets. Are buffets back? Probably. Go eat at buffets and listen to Celine Dion. Palm Springs. I've been to Palm Springs several times. Palm Springs is one of my favorite places in the world just because it's close to LA. I love hot desert weather. I love Joshua Tree. I love the desert. I find it to be incredibly calming and soothing, and it's a fun, quick getaway. And I love that there's pools and I love sitting by the pool in Palm Desert. Not when it's like 120 degrees, but like when it's 100 degrees. Anything past 100, no thank you. I've been to Italy. Italy is beautiful. Italy's amazing. I've been to Florence in Italy, which was picturesque. It had like a carousel and little cobblestone streets, and everything was prettier than the next thing. I've been to Rome, which I didn't like as much as Florence because I felt like it was a little more dirty. I've been to Venice, but when I went to Venice, it smelled weird, like rotten eggs, and it was raining, and I threw up. I don't remember why I threw up. I think I got food poisoning. I've been known to throw up. I threw up in last week's episode by accident because I got nauseous on a swing set. This is 34. More notes here. Okay. This is the craziest question. It's so crazy that I was like, I have to talk about this. Somebody tweeted me today and said, would I consider a side gig as a tickle fetish model where I would be paid to tickle and get tickled? Hell no. Why the hell would I want to get tickled? And what type of weird fetish is that? And then they proceeded to say that weed, wine, snacks, and feathers would be provided. So basically, I would be tickled with feathers and then tickle other women with feathers and be paid with weed, wine, and snacks? No. What kind of sicko is trying to tickle people with feathers? Who asks that? Who says, hey, would you consider a side gig as a tickle fetish model? No, I would not. Hell no. Tickle fetish model. Could you imagine like if that goes wrong? If you're like, stop, I don't want to be tickled anymore. You accidentally punch someone in the face because they're tickling you too hard. I'm so ticklish. The thought of like tickling someone as a fetish, I don't get it. I don't have that desire. I don't want to tickle anyone. I don't want to be tickled. Tickling is not my thing. Keep your feathers, bro. I don't want to consider a side gig as a tickle fetish model. Someone asked me what I'm proud of. That I've accomplished that I haven't spoken about. Stand-up. Stand-up is the hardest thing in the world to do. I've been doing it for 11 years, 10 if you take away a year from the pandemic. But yeah, I started stand-up in 2010, and it has been the hardest, most rewarding thing that I've ever done in my life. There's just so many moments in doing stand-up where you feel like quitting or you feel defeated, and you just have to keep showing up again and again and again and again. And that consistency is really what's hard. And I've been really disciplined with that. So I'm most proud of myself for that. Crossword puzzles. It's like, why? I just wrote down crosswords. Why do you want to challenge yourself in that way? I don't understand crosswords. I don't understand Sudoku. I know some people get high off Sudoku. Am I even saying it right? High off of the New York Times crossword. It's like, no. Have you guys ever fucked with porn? Have you ever watched porn? If you've ever watched porn, you'll realize porn is 1,000 times better than crossword puzzles and Sudoku. Is it Sudoku? Is that how you say it? I don't know. I don't even think I've ever played Sudoku. While you were doing a word search, I was watching a MILF get fucked. I wasn't planning on saying that. That was really crass. Sorry, Mom. But that's what I feel. No apologies. I don't like crosswords. I don't like word searches, and I don't like Sudoku. And if you have a problem with that, you can sound off in the comments below. Who is polishing silver in 2021? I feel like polishing silver is such an elite thing to do, just to be at home polishing your silver, waiting for guests to arrive. It's such a bougie move to be like, oh, look at how clear my silver is. I've been polishing it all day. While you were polishing your silver, I was driving through Burger King. I also wrote down dog park because I went to the dog park. The dog park is its own thing. Dog parents are insane. I was at the dog park and there was a dog, and the dad of the dog had the dog's face on his shirt. That's how obsessed with his dog he was. And everyone at the dog park, there's like little cliques, and people know each other and they know each other's dogs. And if you're like new to the dog park, it's its own weird thing. It's a whole social thing that you have to try to navigate. Then I watched one dog hump another dog, like straight up fuck another dog. And its owner was like, yeah, get it. And I was like, that's gross to like encourage your dog to fuck another dog. I mean, if the dogs are going to hump, they're going to hump. But why do you have to egg it on? Dude. Okay, so we talked crosswords. We talked dog parks. We talked silver polishing, fetish, tickle fetish modeling. I mean, guys, I'm answering all the questions you guys sent and covering subjects I wasn't even planning on covering. What else do I have here? Love France. It's true. One of the worst places I've ever performed stand-up comedy is Barstow. That's like somewhere between LA and Vegas. I'm pretty sure I performed at a Holiday Inn in Barstow. And when I got there, I was surrounded by Hell's Angels who were just hanging out in the parking lot. And I was like, oh, cool. And the show producer was like, are you sure you don't want to spend the night? I'm like, yeah, I've never wanted to leave a venue more. Never been more excited to go home. You know you're in hell when the comic who's on before you shows up with a guitar. There's nothing worse than that, in my opinion. The only thing worse than showing up with a guitar is showing up with a briefcase of props. If you're showing up with a briefcase of props and you're not Carrot Top, who are you? If you get stoned in Vegas and you look at the Carrot Top billboard, it'll haunt you for the rest of your life. I know because this happened to me and I'm still trying to recover. Okay. I grew up playing with Furbies and Tamagotchis. More on that after I tell you about something that gets me excited and keeps me calm. And that's CBD. That's right, guys. Anyone who knows me knows that I have severe anxiety. I'm always anxious about something. This week it was the fire. Last week it was whether or not anything. I get anxious about anything. It can be anything from what should I wear to am I going to bomb on stage to, oh no, I can't find my keys. I'm always anxious. I have a really, really busy life. That's why I need CBD. And there's only one type of CBD I use, and that's Sunday Scaries. You could head to sundayscaries.com. That's sundayscaries.com. Link in the description of this episode. Discount code SHENK, SHENK, for 25% off all CBD products. They also make dog bones, which are amazing. I give Bowie them all the time. He loves them. They also have this unicorn jerky, which is a really, really fun way to get your CBD if you're someone who's new to CBD. I cannot recommend Sunday Scaries enough. Plus 25% off is an amazing discount to get. and definitely worth it. And they also have gummies. They have these gummy bears. These are the Sunday Scary bears. These have B12 in them. And I believe they have B12 and D3. And that's great for your energy level and your immune system. They also have vegan gummies that come in. They're sour gumdrops. These are incredible. They taste exactly like Sour Patch Kids. And they also have vitamin D3 and vitamin B12 in them. So you're getting that immune support as well. And you're calming down. You're soothing your nerves. You're kicking your feet up. Just takes the edge off. They also have this really great tincture. It's a tincture for chilling. It makes life a lot less scary. You just drop it underneath your tongue. It's got B12, D3, 500 milligrams in this little dropper. Discount code SHENK for 25% off. And the taste of this is really good. I'm going to tell you right now what it tastes like. Hold on. Here I am. I am about to open up my Sunday Scaries tincture. You can see I have some in the dropper. Drop it under my tongue. Damn, that's good. Literally tastes like candy. It's the best tasting CBD I've ever tried. I've tried a lot of CBD and none of them taste this sweet. None of them taste this good. It makes it a lot easier to consume if you like the taste of it. I do CBD all the time. I drop it. Sometimes I drop it in my coffee. Sometimes I drop it in my smoothie. Sometimes I drop it in my bath. That's right. They have tub cubs. What's a tub cub, you ask? It's a CBD bath bomb. I'm doing this tonight because I have been stressed as hell. Nothing like after an evacuation, there's nothing I love more than a tub cub. Discount code SHENK for 25% off. Guys, get your CBD. It's a great way to stay calm as the world opens up. I know it's been really chaotic getting back to our regular routines, trying to figure out that work-life balance. At least for me, it has. So super excited to have Sunday Scaries as a podcast sponsor. Discount code SHENK, SHENK, 25% off. All right. What else do I have on here? Okay. Furbies and Tamagotchis. I said there'd be more on that later. So let's get into it. I miss my Tamagotchi daily. It was the first responsibility I ever had. And then one day the Tamagotchi just died. And that was jarring to have a digital pet just die. Pretty sure my Tamagotchi died. And then I never saw it again. And it was supposed to be my digital pet. Tamagotchis, if you don't know what a Tamagotchi was, it was like this egg-shaped toy where you would have a pet that you would feed and it would poop. I think it would poop too and it would grow. If you don't know what a Tamagotchi is, I strongly recommend Googling Tamagotchi because this was a hot toy when I was a kid. And then they had rip-off versions of Tamagotchis. They had nano pets. And there were also Furbies, and Furbies were like those alien things. If you don't know what a Furby is, you're living under a goddamn rock. But Furbies were haunting. I remember my mom took the batteries out of my Furby because I kept teaching it to say the word fuck, and I thought it was so funny, and it just would like sit with its weird like blinking eyes, and I'm just like fuck. And my mom took the batteries out of my Furby, and that was the end of that. I'm still mad that she took the batteries out of my Furby and that she sold my Polly Pockets. Because if you Google Polly Pockets from 1990s or you go on Etsy, that shit retails for a lot of money. So I'm pissed that my mom liquidated all my assets. I think I may have talked about this on a podcast before, but I was a Beanie Baby kid. I had so many Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies were like a reward system for me. Like if I would fail every math test. I remember getting my math test back and being amazed that I could get as low of a score as I did. Like I remember one time getting like a 29% on a test and being like, how is that even possible? You know? And I'm not stupid. I'm just really bad at math, especially long division, because what the hell is long division? When you start having remainders, it's like, wait, are we solving this problem or are we not solving this problem? Why am I writing R and then the amount of things that are left over? I don't know. I think you just need to know your multiplication tables and basic division, and that's it. realistically, unless you're going to be an engineer or a doctor or an accountant or somebody in finance, why do you have to take all this fucking math? I think we need to. This is another subject that I wasn't even planning on getting on, but I think it's an important subject to address, and that's the schooling system. I think that the schooling system is really difficult for kids who don't fit into the exact mold of the schooling system, and so many different kids learn different ways, and I just feel that there needs to be more enrichment programs for kids who aren't typical learners, like kids who are creatives, kids who are artists, kids who are computer minded. Just if there's different programs for them to choose at a young age, maybe then kids would be more excited about learning. Yeah, we cover everything here. We talk about crossword puzzles. We talk about Sudoku. We talk about side gigs as Tickle fetish models. And now I just covered the school systems. Who am I? I don't even know sometimes. What don't I cover? I tackle every subject there is to tackle. Someone said, what are some deal breakers for dating? And I said, deal breakers are no job. If you have no job, you're out. And if you have a weird scent, you're out. And sometimes you think somebody smells fine until you hang out with them. And then you're like, wait a minute. Our pheromones are not aligning in the way that I was hoping that they would. And this is awkward for everybody. I need someone who has good hygiene. I need someone who showers. I really would prefer a man who flosses. I don't know if that's asking for too much. I feel like looking for a man who flosses is like as difficult as trying to find a man who's looking for marriage in Los Angeles. I wrote down scratch and sniff stickers are drugs. They are. You're like scratching a piece of paper like a meth head and then sniffing it like a crack fiend or coke head. I don't think that's, it's just weird. It's druggy behavior. Scratch and sniff stickers, not for me. Also Fun Dip, biggest drug ever. It's like a stick with a powder and you're doing this all day long. That can't be good for anybody. The Fun Dip sticks taste terrible. They're gross. Fun Dip is just like pure sugar, right? How is that even allowed still? I wrote down grapefruit. Ew, because grapefruit is the worst fruit ever invented. God was really fucking with us when he put that shit together. He was like, I think vitamin C should be painful. And then he made the grapefruit. And then old Jewish men in delis love a grapefruit with a spoon and some artificial sweetener, some equal on a grapefruit. Is there anything grosser than that? I don't think so. I wrote down toe rings just because I have so many thoughts about toe rings. Like, what are toe rings? Why do we need them? Anklets and toe rings are things that confuse me. An anklet, I would prefer wearing an anklet over wearing a toe ring. If you can make a toe ring look good, then you have amazing feet, and I give you all the credit in the world for it. But not everyone's a toe ring person, and a toe ring person's a very specific kind of person. I also wrote down phone books, white pages, and yellow pages because I don't even know the difference between the white pages and the yellow pages. I feel like that's something that I should know as being a kid that grew up in the 90s. It's like, oh, the white pages were for this and the yellow pages were for this. But all I know is that they were like, were they both phone books? It's like, oh, are you in the yellow pages? If you're not in the yellow pages, are you even anyone in 92? If you're not listed in the white pages, are you even anybody? Yeah. Was I planning on talking about white pages, yellow pages, and phone books? No, but every episode of my podcast is different. Every episode of my podcast gives something, something unexpected. Let's see what else I have written down here. Polishing silver. That's it. Polishing silver. There's nothing worse than writing a joke and then forgetting to say the joke. So I've covered every note that I've written in my in my little notebook there. So now I'm going to go on to tell you about something I filmed at the Comedy Store, which was super fun. I filmed something called a tiny set, which is going to be coming out on the Comedy Store Instagram, and you'll probably see it on my Instagram as well. It's me doing stand-up over music. So it's a really fun vibe. It's different. It flows. It was a great way for me to just like get rid of some old material that I've been dying to get rid of for so long. It was the perfect platform for that. So look forward to that. It's going to be launching on the Comedy Store Instagram or my Instagram soon. It was so much fun to film. And I filmed it with like Brian Moses and Josh Martin and Joel Jimenez did the drums. Joel Jimenez from the Kill Tony podcast. So a lot of you know him from that. He's also been on the show as well. So look out for that. That's going to be coming soon to your local Instagram, to my Instagram, and to the Comedy Store's Instagram. There's nothing more confusing than a lactose intolerant person who eats ice cream still. No, it's like, no, why would you do that? You're still going to shit yourself. Also, vegans who don't eat vegetables. Why are you a vegan if you're not going to eat a vegetable? I dated a vegan who wouldn't eat any vegetables. It was a very confusing time for me and him, I'm sure. It's like, you're only eating carbohydrates. Why? Ask yourself why. I, in a previous episode, went through a junk drawer at my house. I could, in fact, go through a junk drawer at my parents' house. Is that how I should end this week's episode? Maybe. Should I go through a junk drawer? Should I go through a closet space and show you guys what's going on? Should I show you guys some of my favorite things that I have in my parents' closet? All right, let's see. Let's see what I have. This is going to be interesting because it could be anything, and I haven't prepared at all for this. Let's move the camera over if I can. Hold on. Okay. Wow, my closet's a mess. This seems like a bad idea all around. Okay. Let me show you some of my favorite things from my parents' closet. From my closet at my parents' house. Okay. Okay, this is amazing. This is a bunny t-shirt. I don't know where I'm planning on wearing this and why I haven't gotten it from my parents' house, because this is like something I should be wearing pretty much every day, I would say. This says, I'm cool, I'm fun, I like bunnies. I also have, this is one of my most prized possessions. It is a vintage Fresh Prince of Bel-Air t-shirt. Haven't ever worn it. I hope to wear it soon. I got a tie-dye kit in my closet here. What else do I have? Old yearbooks. So that's a journey. I have this book. Okay, this book is like the mother of all astrology books. It has everybody's birthday in it, and then it tells you can search your birthday, and then it'll tell you a little bit about yourself. So my birthday is April 19th, and I'll tell you if this is real. My strengths are that I'm controlled, durable, and skillful, which I think I am, all of those things. And my weaknesses are that I'm overbearing, and I will say I am overbearing. Like I'm a lot for myself. I'm repetitive. Yeah, I would say I'm repetitive and fixated for sure. I'm all of those things. Yeah. Do you want to hear the advice that this book gives me? I'll read it to you. Don't get caught in a control trip. Allow for spontaneity. Avoid getting stuck. Learn to listen and be open for change. Latch onto that train before it pulls out. Let others make up their own minds. Back off sometimes. You know, it's fucked up when your horoscope book tells you you're too much and to back off sometimes. I don't know why I struggled with the word back off there. I've said it several times, no problem before. But yeah, this book is fun. It's called The Secret Language of Birthdays. It's a great coffee table book. I don't know, are people still buying coffee table books? Coffee table books are what rich people give to each other to prove that they're cultured. They're like, Honey, I was out and I know that you love collecting glass figurines, and I found this coffee table book on glass figurines, and then you just put it on your coffee table and flex that you have enough money to have like a $60 book with nice pictures in it. What I'm saying is I'm launching a coffee table NFT. No, I'm not. I'm trying to understand NFTs. If anyone wants to give me a quick NFT tutorial, because your girl's trying to make art in cyberspace, I guess that's what that is. Yeah. Okay. Should I keep going through my closet, my parents' house closet? This is wild. Okay. This shirt, shop till you drop. This I love. This is a great vintage find. Sometimes when you start podcasting and you've been after an evacuation, things get weird. You talk about things you didn't even plan on talking about. I tried to interview my mom for this podcast. She refused. She told me she was not camera ready and she would need more time. And she said she would need a day's notice before just a random podcast. My parents are stars, but they refuse to let me put them on camera, which is devastating for both you and I, How can you convince someone who is a star that they belong on camera if they don't want to be on camera? You can't. It's like my mom's too pure. I called my friend Megan and I was like, I'm trying to get Debbie on the podcast. She's like, you can't. Your mom's just too pure. You can't sell her out like that. And it's true. She would do great on Instagram. She doesn't even know. I think she'd also kill on TikTok. I'm trying to get my mom on TikTok. That's a mental health update from me over here, live from evacuation with 3 cats and a dog at my parents' house. Okay, let me show you something that when I saw this at a vintage sale, I was like, I absolutely need this. I need this bandana more than I need anything. And in the moment, I truly believe that I needed it. That's what a shopping addiction will do to you. I've never once worn this. I don't know where I would wear this or what it's for. Maybe I could tie it on Bowie's neck for Valentine's Day, but it is a Cupid themed bandana with a pink poodle on it. So that's what's going on with me. My mental health is flawless. Have this just sitting in my closet next to an astrology book. Things are weird. This episode of SHENK is just pure SHENK. SHENK Unleashed, live from childhood bedroom. It is the podcast without a plan. We'll call this episode the improvised and adapted podcast. I don't know what we're calling this podcast. All I know is that this has been a journey, guys. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you continuing to watch the show, continuing to support the show. If you're in San Diego, come out to the Wicked Warehouse this Saturday, May 22nd. I will be performing and Rachel Wolfie will be opening. Great time, fun time. It is 420 friendly. It is alcohol friendly. And then Sunday, I'll be in LA at Jam in the Van. That's an all-female lineup. The lineup's incredible. Wolfie's on that lineup as well. And then a few other really amazing women comedians, and super excited to be on a show with all women lineup, because most of the shows really are all men, just because men make up most of the comedy community. But somehow we were able to do an all women show. So that's exciting. And guys, get some merch, support the show, get some CBD, head to sundayscaries.com, discount code SHENK, SHENK for 25% off. Buy some socks, ohyeah.com, discount code Sara10 for 10% off. Socks are great gifts for loved ones, for dads, for grads. Yeah, this is a dads and grads ad. That's who I am now. If you're enjoying the podcast, leave a review, buy a t-shirt, show the podcast some love, tag me online, send questions. I have a lot of people that ask fashion questions, and that was a big part of the show. When I started the show, I love to talk about fashion with you guys. So if anyone does have fashion questions, send them over. And I'll help you. I'll answer them. I'll tell you that you can't wear khakis. I'll tell you that you can't wear Velcro shoes unless you have to because you have a health problem. Besides that, there's no excuse for a Velcro shoe. There is nothing that makes me drier, and I'm talking vaginal dryness, than the sound of Velcro. Was I planning on talking about vaginal dryness at the end of the podcast? No, but it just came up. I'm saying if you want to make me wet, tie those shoes, lace up those shoes, put away the Velcro, be an adult. Okay, I'm going to sign off from this podcast by showing you a hat that Chelsea Skidmore made me get from 7-Eleven in North Hollywood. We bought these hats. Hold on. I'll show you. Chelsea Skidmore and I bought these camo safari hats from 7-Eleven. This one is like a gray and blue camo. If you're not watching the podcast, all I can say is it's like a Steve Irwin hat, kind of. Like, am I going on an adventure or am I just white trash? I'm not sure. But I did buy this from 7-Eleven for, I think, $7.99. Could have been $9.99. Either way, it's a steal. It's a gift that keeps on giving. This has been a very strange episode of my podcast. Live from Evacuation, it is I, Sara Weinshenk. Make sure that you're subscribing to the podcast. You're rating it. You're reviewing it. You're telling your friends about it. And if you have any guest suggestions, let me know. I have some fun guests coming up. I had to reschedule today's guest. So all I can say is support live comedy, support the show. I love you guys. I love you so much that I didn't even let an evacuation stop me from putting out this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to and watching another episode of SHENK, live from Evacuation. Bye. Stay safe.